All right, so I figured I would just use some walls here as an example, and this would obviously apply to ductwork, piping, etc. Circuits, unfortunately, cannot be added to design options, just like they can't be phased. So electrical's kind of out of luck. In Revit, a circuit it's in the model. It doesn't. The panel schedule is the panel schedule. You can't have a receptacle in one phase and another different receptacle in another phase. It just doesn't register that way as far as circuiting goes. So design options are controlled down here in the bottom right here. There's a little button for design options. If you click that, it brings up this window, not you, brings up this window. And everything that you do in a normal Revit job is in what's called the main model. If you want to create a design option, there's an option for option set. And you hit new, you'll create a new set with one option as underneath it. And then you can click that option set and create another new option if you have, say, two. Now, you can also create new option sets. You might want to, say in the mechanical model, create a set for ductwork and a set for piping, which I will demonstrate later. But once your sets are set up, one of them you'll notice is set as primary. And that comes into play in a minute. So once you model things, and I don't know if you are going to be modeling existing conditions or you know what you want to do, but once you have stuff modeled, you can select something, and right next to that design option button, there's one called Add to Set. You click that, it brings this up. You choose your option set from the dropdown, and you choose your options. You can add them to multiple options. Let's say you want to add this to option 1 only, and now you notice I cannot select this because it's not in the main model anymore. It's in option 1. And I'm going to add the other diagonal to that option as well. So now I can only select the crossing ones, not the X. Now, this drop down here is where you select what option you are currently viewing. If you choose the primary option, you'll notice that the other ones are grayed out. They are in the main model. They're not in a set at all. But now you can't select those, and you can select the X. And if you switch to option 2, the X disappears because the X is in option 1. It's not in this option, so you can't even see it. We go back to main model. I can set these plus ones to add to set, option 2. And now they disappear. The main model only shows the primary option. So if you want to see option 2, you have to switch to it. And now you're editing option 2. And this is where it gets a little tricky. The visibility graphics for the view/view template, which I took the view template off for this. Once a design option is in the model, there will be a tab for design options. This isn't usually here in a normal Revit model if there aren't any design options. But when you go here, you'll notice the design option is set to automatic. And what automatic will show is whatever one you have active. So if you switch to option 2, it shows option 2. If you switch to option 1 or main model, it shows the primary or the one you pick. But if you go into visibility graphics and you manually set this to be option 2, you will only see option 2. If you're in the main model or in option 1, you'll notice in option 1, it grays it out. You can't pick anything. Main model, you can't pick them. You have to be in option 2 while showing option 2 to actually edit these elements. So what I would suggest is go through your view templates. Let me just use like this one, for example, and uncheck design options from being included in the view template. That way, each view can be modified individually for what design option it shows. And then you can make duplicate views, and you can make it option 1 instead of copy 1. Imagine this as option 1. And then you could go in visibility graphics. Open you, go in design options and manually set this to be option 1 and make another one and manually set it to be option 2. And then you could show multiple options at once. Another thing to be aware of, if you are in an option, like if you're showing option 2 here, if I draw another wall, this wall, as you notice in properties, is in option 2 now. It's just like phasing. If you draw a wall in new construction, if you draw a pipe in new construction phased view, it'll be new. If you draw it in an existing phased view, it's existing. Same thing goes for design options. So be aware of which one you're set to edit, just so you can draw it in the right one. You can also, like I said, you can make a new option set. I'm going to make 2 options here. I'm going to call this one, let's call this one duct, and let's call this one pipe. Now, these are all in duct, I believe. I'm in the main model. I'm going to draw a few more walls here. You'll also notice that these are not joined because one's in one option and one's in the main model. You'll also notice these are cut because you remember we have walls going through here. That should be in option, where is that? That's option 2. Oh, right, because my view. See, again, this is so complicated, I forgot to. I have my view set to be option 2. I need to set that to automatic. So what design option you're viewing and what design option you're editing are 2 separate controls. So now that I have it set to automatic, it'll show me option 1 when I switch to it. I had it locked to show me option 2 no matter what I was editing. So if I go back to main model, now these I can choose to add to a different option set. If I chose pipe, option 1, and this one I could add to pipe, option 2. Now, these walls here are all in option 1, which is both the primary. These 2 are in duct option 1. This one is in pipe option 1, and they're both the primary. So the main model will always show all of the primary options. If I switch to 2, you start to see how complicated this gets. Pipe option 2, this is the only wall in it. This is, sorry, these are in duct option 1. So pipe option 2 shows pipe option 2, but it also shows the primary of the other set. And you can change that visibility as well, because you can notice here you set these 2 to be separate, so we could set 1 and we could lock those to be whatever we want. At the end, you'll notice there's an option here for accept primary. Now, you can set a different one to be primary. You can make option 2 primary for any of these sets. But once you've, if you're going over several different designs and you finally they settle on one, you can accept primary. Now what that will do is it will delete all the non-primary options. You could have 7 or 8 options here. It'll accept the primary one, delete all the rest of them, and it will delete everything in them. And it will warn you if I select the set. If I go accept primary, it will warn you. Deleting a set causes all of its secondary options and elements to be deleted also. So it's telling you you're going to delete option 2 if you hit yes. So just be very careful of accepting primary, that you don't want any of the work you put in the other options. Also, when it comes to tagging, if you tag an element that's in the main model, it tags as normal. If you switch to a different design option, you can select this tag, you can modify this tag, but it is grayed out, showing that it is tagging an object in a different design option. Also, tags can technically not exist in a non-primary design option. They will show up as gray because they're not in the main model. But just keep that in mind, that if you delete an option, it will delete all the tags associated with it. Or if you switch primary, that's another thing. Right now, option 1 is primary. You see this tag is dark. If I go and I make this one primary, let me finish editing. If I make this one primary, it will delete this tag. A relationship between elements in the main model and the main model has been deleted. There's no corresponding relationship in duct option 2. So it's saying that tag, I think it was, I might be wrong on that, but when you change primaries, I think you do run the risk of deleting your annotations. So just be aware, if you switch the primary option, you do run the risk of losing your annotations and tags. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. But like I said, I would go through each of your view templates, take this off. Do not include design option in the view template, and that way you can keep your view templates on your views, and you can switch design option visibility. So that's the only way to get multiple options on a set, is to make duplicate views, lock them to show certain design options, and then you can use those. Otherwise, it's always going to show what's in the main model, which is always going to show the primary option. So in this case, our main model is showing, which did I change that? Nope, set to automatic. So automatic is going to show option 2 of duct and option 1 of pipe, which is what we're seeing here. You can't select any of these, but if we go to those primaries, you can see in properties, it's duct option 2. All threes are duct option 2, and this is pipe option 1. And if I switch to a non-primary, you'll see them. You'll see what's in the main model. You just can't touch it. I took this off, but I also advise taking off including Revit links in your view template. And the reason for that is you can go view by view, and you can open visibility graphics, open Revit links, go in Arch, switch it to custom, go to design options, switch it to custom, and force it to show whatever option you want. If it's set to automatic, it'll probably show primary. If you want to see one of these other two, you can force that view to show that way. But because you don't have the same design options in your model, by host view doesn't work. So you have to break the visibility link, unfortunately. And you have to uncheck. This in order to do it per view. Otherwise, it's per view template, and I don't advise making multiple templates per option. That's just going to get really messy.